Some fans are speculating that Joey Badass just called out Kendrick Lamar and the entire West Coast on his new song. Joey Badass, if you did not see, just dropped a fire new verse to start off the new year. And by the sounds of it, he is tired of being overlooked when it comes to the top rapper conversations. And not just that, he's tired of his coast not being on top right now. But to me, this verse wasn't a full-blown diss, and it wasn't just something to spark controversy like some may claim. Hip-hop is a competitive sport, and this verse embodied that spirit to the fullest. But let's be clear. There were some competitive jabs, and if anybody doesn't see that, they are mishearing the verse. In this video, we're going to break down the lyrics of the verse, what it can mean for Kendrick, Joey, the coastal battle, and the landscape of rap in 2025. What is going on? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending on when you're watching this. My name is Jeremy Hecht. If you're new to the channel, welcome, subscribe for more hip-hop deep dives. We're going to be doing a lot more of this. I got a new camera. We are looking more crisp. I am not high, even though you may think it. It is my ring light. I will remind you as much as I need to. But the new year is starting off fresh, so let's get it going. Joey Badass was quiet musically the last couple of years as he focused on his successful acting career in Power Book 3. But the first day of 2025 appears to be a sign that he's ready to return to form, and even more so, aiming to be considered one of the best rappers in the game. Skill-wise, he's always been considered to be a top-tier MC, at least in my eyes. But in terms of the mainstream success and respect, it's still an uphill battle for Joey. I personally think Joey was throwing light jabs at not only the guy who is currently holding the throne, who we all know undoubtedly right now, but at anyone who doubts Joey's skill set as an MC. He also seems to want to put New York back in the conversation when it comes to the best rappers out right now, after 2024 clearly had all eyes on the West Coast. The song title is a nod to Jay-Z's Blueprint album intro, where Jay makes his triumphant return and had no trouble throwing shots on that album, as we all know. On Hov's song, he starts by saying, "What you're about to witness is my thoughts, just my thoughts, man, right or wrong, just what I was feeling at the time." This feels like what Joey's frame of mind is also on this song. And Joey even references a Jay lyric while simultaneously calling out the West Coast, specifically the D-riding that takes place with the West Coast right now. Joey says, "Too much West Coast D-licking. I'm hearing dudes throwing rocks. Really ain't shit sticking. Cause if we talking bar for bar, really it's slim pickings." And on 22/2's Off Reasonable Doubt, Jay's debut studio album, he says this: "Too much West Coast D-licking and too many dudes on a mission doing your best Jay-Z rendition." This isn't even the first time that Joey has used this line. On a song with Capital Steez, whom he also references on The Ruler's Back, rest in peace, he said, "Too much West Coast D-licking, too many dudes getting caught slipping, knitting mittens into kissing kittens." Ironically, we have Kid Cudi right here, whom I occasionally kiss. I don't think there's anything wrong with kissing kittens. "Too many chickens want to be pigeons shitting over stadiums and leave it dripping on your cranium." Rest in peace to Capital Steez. Now, I'm too young to have been around for it, so the OGs can fill me in the comments what the feeling was like back then, but I know Death Certificate was 1991, The Chronic dropped 1992, Doggy Style 1993, and in 1995, The Dog Pound dropped an album. Pac dropped Me Against the World in 1995 as well, and I'm guessing while Jay was writing Reasonable Doubt, that there was a lot of West Coast love being shown. Now, I don't know the degree that it was. I don't know the real feeling. You can let me know in the comments if you were around for it. Of course, 94, the year that I was born, Ready to Die and Illmatic came out, which would have been huge for New York along with Reasonable Doubt. But yeah, let me know. Back to now. Any way you want to put it, the West Coast was up in 2024. Tyler, the Creator, Schoolboy Q, and of course Kendrick Lamar had some of the most highly revered albums of the year, and my personal top 3 projects. You can call me a D-Rider all you want, but they were making the best music in hip-hop last year. Along with Ab Soul, Jason Martin, and DJ Quick, the list goes on. In fact, speaking of Jason Martin, he even used a similar reference on the song Chupacabra with The Game, where he said, "Too much down south D-licking, too many East Coast dudes snitching, doing their best Nino rendition," which is of course a nod to the J lyric that Joey referenced. Shout out to @LukeCage8001 for pointing this out on my YouTube community page. It's funny though, because I would argue that before last year, the West Coast wasn't in any conversation in terms of best rap environment or hottest city. It was only after the pop-out, in my opinion, that people really started to look at LA differently again. Again, that's just my opinion. But I do think Joey is making a case that New York needs to make a run for the crown and that he wants to be the new leader of it. Now, some people are speculating if there are any bars actually about Kendrick or if it's a reach, but let me take a look for you. It's rules to this shit, hold up. I got murals in my city, F a nomination, this for every time they left me out the conversation. Now, Kendrick, of course, opened his song Whacked Out Murals by saying, yesterday somebody whacked out my mural. That energy will make you move to Europe, but it's regular for me. Yeah, that's for sure. The love and hate is definite without a cure. On Peekaboo, Kendrick said, bing bop, boom, 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 bop, pow. The type of shit I'm on you wouldn't understand. The type of skits I'm on you wouldn't understand. Which to me was a reference to the legendary Super Hot Fire, whom I have a rare interview with on my channel. If you want to go check it out, that's a homie. And Joey says, I stand tall in this rap thing like Yao Ming and won't stop till the crowd sing when I'm crowned king. My aura scream and my style ring. This ain't boom bap. This, that, boom, bow, bing. Now, very random, specific way to reference things, but I do think that he's referencing Peekaboo just to show there is no debate as to who he's talking about here. Also, Kendrick has referenced himself as the Elohim multiple times, including on 616 in LA, and Joey said, F around with your soul like ether, quick for a feature, this, that black Air Force energy coming out of your speaker, I'm out your reach, your arms too short to box the Elohim. Now, Kendrick has short arms, as referenced by Cole on 7 Minute Drill, and the artwork for his song Watch the Party Die included black Air Forces, which was a big deal at the time. Now, the soul line could also be thrown to Ab Soul. I'm not saying he's necessarily intended it, but fuck around with your soul like ether could be something where he's just basically aiming at the entire coast, not in necessarily a combative way, but in a way where it's like, yo, I'm ready to go at it. I'm ready to show whoever wants the smoke that I can out-rap anyone. Ab Soul being one of the best rappers alive, in my opinion. Joey raps, we can run a fair one. I know some real hitters, but I ain't never fear none. Now, this to me was interesting because one of Kendrick's closest affiliates, Hitta J3, has been known to speak on anybody who speaks on the coast, especially Kendrick. So Joey could be saying he fears no one when it comes to the raps, and he doesn't care who has something to say about it. Interestingly enough, while I was filming this video, Hitta J3 did tweet, said, y'all don't love us, Snoop Dogg voice. He retweeted someone who said, seen this before, another New York rapper bitter at the love that the West Coast are getting. History repeats itself. He said, beat up one goofy on camera and think he ready to beat on his chest. In reference to Joey Badass getting into a fight on camera recently, we F with Rocky Moore anyway, LOL. He said he must be mad about the Dodgers winning, LOL. Don't forget everybody in NY wanna be Bloods more than anything. This shit don't even deserve a response. Tell Joey, try again. That was Hitta J3. I clearly am not the only person to think that this was aimed at least a little bit towards Kendrick and the West Coast. Joey raps, I'm back by popular demand and world domination. I'm finna bomb on dudes' plans fresh off my vacation. Now, the bomb lyric could be a callback to Kendrick's Control verse where he said, tell Flex to drop a bomb on this shit, so many bombs, ring the alarm like Vietnam on this shit. And even if you want to consider that a reach, which it probably is, what isn't a reach is that Joey did take offense to Kendrick's bar in Control where he said, I'm Machiavelli's offspring, I'm the king of New York, king of the coast, one hand, I juggle them both. Where he was, of course, referencing cannabis. But in Joey's response to Control, yes, he responded to Control. He said this, be more specific next time you shouting loud, amigo, which is interesting and to me made it seem like Joey is being very specific with his references in this song for a reason, even though he didn't call a name out. He said, you are not up to par, no names putting you in a verse, that's too far. You're mundane, can't obtain the knowledge in my brain. My set told me light you up. So this, that propane, it's Nathan, all I gotta do is just spit flame. No escaping, you in a swimming pool of champagne. Of course, referencing Kendrick's song, Swimming Pools. You set yourself up for that one, man. The king of New York, ha, we ain't just gonna let that one hang. Every time I just see HA with an exclamation point, I think of Elliott Wilson because he always tweets that when he thinks something's funny. And Joey clearly thought it was funny that Kendrick could have been king of New York at the time. He said, last dude got dethroned and you ain't from my zone. The rest of the real dudes is dead and gone. I'm getting weak from this shit that I hear. No lyrical style come near me. How they gonna try to compare me to what's clearly barely not nearly as rare as me? Heard they was looking for war, but ain't declaring me. These rap dudes don't want the static for real, cause they lines not adjacent to my spectacular skill. So clearly Joey felt a way about Kendrick's line about being the king of New York, but I also think that he felt a way about not being mentioned as a peer of Kendrick's at the time. Even though Joey's a lot younger, he's about to turn 30 in a couple weeks, and Kendrick's 37, about to turn 38 this year. But when Control dropped in 2013, Joey was fresh off of what was being heralded as a classic mixtape with 1999. And I think he felt a way. Joey has amazing bodies of work, but for whatever reason, he's usually left out of the conversation of best rappers out. And I do think him taking some time off to act did affect that. And I think that this year he wants to be in that combo. Now, that's where a lot of this energy seems to be coming from. And sometimes to be in the title for the crown, you have to aim at it. And I think that's what he's doing. Now, I don't think Kendrick will fully reply, but maybe he will throw a sub because Kendrick seems to have that it's whatever though energy and anyone can get the smoke as he's sitting at the top of the game. Is Joey ready for war? It seems like if we take his Control verse and his verse here that he would be ready for a lyrical combat with anyone, including Kendrick. Do I think it's a good idea? No. I don't think it's a good idea for anyone to come at Kendrick right now. I think it was a great idea that Wayne backed down if he allegedly was in the booth and then decided not to go through with it. I think anyone going at Kendrick right now, it's a dangerous game. We saw what happened last year. I don't think anyone should do it. But I do think Joey is a highly equipped MC. But it seems like he may have had a similar feeling about Kendrick's lyrical ability, at least at the time of that Control response, as someone like Lupe, where they're claiming that although Kendrick has all the mainstream success at the highest level, that they're not as lyrical or as skilled with the pen or their skill set and the metaphors and the bars and the rhyme schemes as them. And it seems like Joey was kind of referring to that. He literally said, because they lines not adjacent to my spectacular skill, meaning he doesn't think Kendrick has a spectacular skill set, at least at that time. Now, I'm on record during Culture United saying I think Joey Badass would drop an album this year that would put him into the top tier MC conversation. But it seems like he really wants it on day one. So this verse is that to him, and it seems like he's probably got an album lined up, and I do think it's going to be an amazing album. I'm just interested to see what happens here. I do think this is overall great for hip-hop. I think that this is something that will add a lot of fuel to what I call the middle class of rap, which is a bunch of rappers who are incredibly skilled, incredibly talented, have put out good bodies of work, but really haven't elevated to that next level. I think Joey's there, and I think he's on the cusp of making it to that next level. And I think that this honestly will help. I don't know if it'll get him there, and I don't think Kendrick's necessarily going to respond with a full-on, diss song or anything like that. I do think it's all in the competitive nature of rap, but again, maybe Kendrick doesn't see it like that. We saw how he took first-person shooter. He might not take this as just a fun little competitive spirit. He might take it a little more seriously. In terms of New York, I'm not mad at Joey wanting to be the king. I do think the crown is for the taking, but we'll see. ASAP is set to drop an album, his long-awaited album. If he ever drops it, ASAP, please drop the album. We want to hear it. But I do think that there is an open space if Joey does want to claim that crown at some point this year. Is this what rap is going to be like in 2025? Will Joey get a response from Kendrick? Did you feel like these were disses, like competitive jabs? How did you feel about the verse? Do you think Joey has what it takes to compete for the crown at some point in his career? And let me know what you're most excited for this year. Appreciate you guys. If you've stuck around this long, hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. It super helps. And you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter in the description for more takes. I'll see you guys soon. Peace and love.